Good afternoon, everybody from Ireland. It's wee Paddy here from across the shock. Now, today we're going to be talking about a Kershaw knife. I had got one given to me a couple of months ago, and it was the first Kershaw I'd ever had. And Dale Novak, the fella who won the first prize in my 500 subs competition, asked me after the competition was over and I sent him a knife. He said, look, I'm going to send you over another wee Kershaw just to let you see the difference. So that was lovely, very, very generous of him. And he kindly did send me over another Kershaw because being from Ireland, we didn't have the choice of knives that you have over in the States or Canada or even Europe. I mean, when I was growing up, it was in a state that was in... It was in chaos. It was just a war zone, basically. So we never really got to play or never got to buy and choose knives. If you got one, you were lucky and you kept hold of it. I had one from the Sea Cadets, which had, it was a big, heavy metal knife with a marlin spike and about a 3-inch blade. I had that for years till it fell apart, till the marlin spike was wobbling. It was done. So yes, I did love knives, and I always carried little tiny pocket knives. We could get them all right, but you couldn't really get anything bigger. And to stop and search, you were searched in every shop you went into, every bar you went into, you were searched, and so you couldn't get away with it. Or we got very stupid knife laws, as everybody knows. But so before I start talking about the Kershaw, as always, there's always something else. You'll see that there's somebody missing from the front here. Not particularly happy about it, but there's nothing you can do about it. Last week I said Larry the leprechaun had decided he chose me and he wanted to come and spend some time with me. He did, just a blooming week. One review and he was off. So to be honest with you, I know you're not going to believe this, but there is some people out there don't believe in leprechauns and don't know their story. So this is just for those non-believers out there. Leprechauns will come, they'll choose you, you accept them, and they are just companions. They don't do bad magic, so there's nothing bad about a leprechaun, so don't be worried. So what Larry will do now, Larry will go around my friends and checking up people who I like, and he'll get to know my friendship circle, and then he'll come back again. So he's disappeared. I take it he's off on his journey, and so any of my subscribers or friends out there, if he turns up in your door, let him in, bring him in. He's such a good conversationalist. You can sit and talk to him for hours. He'll listen to any of your problems. And again, don't be frightened of him if you haven't. Maybe you've met them before, but if you haven't, he'll be there. So I'm just leaving that out there. So he'll maybe stop at your house for a week or 2 weeks, and then he'll move on to the next friend. That's it. That's the way Larry works. Larry the leprechaun. So enough about Larry the leprechaun. Let's get back to Kershaw. Now, this is a Kershaw Creel, and it is number 1555 Ti. And the Ti stands for titanium, but it's not titanium as in it's made of titanium. It's titanium coating on it. So the Kershaw Creel was a very, very popular knife a few years ago. Now, an awful lot of what I'm going to say is probably conjecture because I don't know that much about it. I have done a bit of research about the knife, and it's still being sold today. So it's still a knife that, and they've got a bigger model as well, the Cryo 2. So it was obviously a good knife, and it obviously works and does a job, or it wouldn't be on sale today. So now, Kershaw Hinderer. This is when Hinderer was doing probably at his peak, I would say, going back 5, 6, 7 years ago, when Hinderer was doing with Kershaw ZT. So this is you can tell straight away by the blade shape that it's nearly a copy of a ZT. That was a bigger knife, full flow through construction. There's 3 bars with a lanyard hole in the last one. There's an overstop, which was a Hinderer trademark, if you like. And this one is an all steel construction. So she's a heavy little bugger. Small knife, I can just about get 4 fingers on it. Not anymore. I was going to say not anymore. I've met many 6-fingered people, but there we go. So There's no milling on the inside of it, which is what makes it. It's about four ounces. What is that? I'm not sure. In the other, you'll have to check that up. It's about 4 ounces in weight. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to go through the descriptions on it. There is hundreds and hundreds of videos on this little knife, and they've got all the descriptions if you want it. I'm sort of wanting to talk about it, how I feel about it, how it fits in nowadays, and what sort of comparisons do we have to this little knife now? What other systems are out there that this wee knife sort of started off? Now, I went to one channel, I typed in cryo. The first name that came up was a man called Nothing Fancy. Excuse me. And this was a man that I watched his channel a few times when I first came around YouTube, and he's quite a character, shall we say. He is quite opinionated. He's the sort of boy I would love to sit in a room and have a conversation with, to be honest with you. But anyway, he has his own views. I didn't agree with a whole lot of them. But he had said it was, he'd been to SHOT Show when this came out, and he'd said to the girl behind the kiosk that he reckoned this would kill, it would be a tenacious killer. Now, I don't know where he got that from. Maybe you can tell me the tenacious was a different shape back then. No idea. I don't think it was, as far as I know. The tenacious is another, it's another knife. It's got milling out of it. Maybe it didn't have milling then, but it weighs about the same as this. It's not all steel, but it does weigh the same. Now, I'm wondering, and this is where I need your sort of help. I take it what he was talking about was that the tenacious and this were about the same price range, and because this was Hinder designed rather than Spyderco, I don't know whether he was affiliated to one or the other, I'm not sure whatsoever, that he thought that this would be a better seller than the Hinderer. And if you think about it as a knife, this smaller knife, this would do anybody from a young teenager up till maybe an older man who didn't have great dexterity with their hands. It's so much easier to do that than to maybe spider flick something out. And you can still use your two hands to push it together because there is that speed safe, which again, I didn't have much to do with at all. I think it's smashing. I mean, this isn't a new knife, but the speed safe on it, it just comes out great. Now, it doesn't whack your hand back like some, I'm told, but it's good and it's easy to deploy. So, there is obviously a place in the knife community for every knife. This one, I would say more than it, because I would put this, if somebody said to rename this, I would rename this a British Bulldog. Because to me, I can just see a picture of it with the wee shoulders out, and I'm doing this behind the camera, by the way. You can't see my face. I just made a bulldog face. But a wee British Bulldog, snub nose, get in anywhere, knock anything through a wall just to get at you. This is, to me, something you could dig in the ground with nearly and still bring it back. This coating, I don't know how long it stays on the knife, but it obviously, I mean, this is it's not a new knife, but I don't know how much use it's had. It looks very close to being new. In fact, I'm saying it's not a new knife because there's wee wear marks here, but maybe that's just the speed safe. It's a wee bit off to the side, but anyway, I just waffle on sometimes. So, Nothing Fancy said it was a tenacious killer. When I put the two of them together, I can't see where he got it. Here's my tenacious, and this was one of my first knives. These two to me are not in the same realm. The blade stock even, do you know what I mean? The blade stock, that wee one's near the same blade stock as the tenacious. Can you see that all right? Yeah. But the tenacious is a much bigger knife, much more comfortable in the hand. There's more grip. It's a knife you could use all day. I don't know whether I could, with my hands, use this all day long because they just get on and no more. It's comfortable, don't get me wrong. And because of this texture, it's smooth. But the downside that I have found, even sitting in the front room in my house, is that after a while your hands get wet and sweaty, as you know. And I'm sitting playing with it and flicking it. And my fingers started to slip off. I was doing this and my fingers slipped and I nearly cut the finger on myself. It was a close call, but so if you're at all in a clammy conditions or if you're working hard, this maybe wouldn't be the knife. Because I reckon if I put a big pair of gloves on, I would lose the back finger on this. Now, of course, I could put a lanyard on to try and correct that, but I would definitely, it'd be too small for me if there was a big pair of gloves in my hand. So I have had an awful lot of trouble, Dale, having to think where this knife would go in my setup. And it took me, I was sitting watching videos earlier on yesterday, and I was watching JT's Knife Life, great channel, love him to death, and he was showing off some of the mods he'd done to knives, and it was only then that it hit me where this knife would go in my setup and why it would go in my setup. And I've actually got a place for it to go now, which is marvelous, because I never resell or give away knives that people have given me, unless it's to a competition to give it to somebody else to better their channel. And that was because of Tony Meader, I must say. He is teaching me well. So JT was doing a show and tell on his Pilar that he'd been modding, and the Pilar is what I reckon a modern day version and shape of this. It's all steel construction. Now, it doesn't have a coating, but it's all steel construction, and it's a heavy little bugger for its size too. It's a wee small knife, smaller blade than this, but heavier. And I thought, gosh, there you go. I was thinking this was sort of outdated because the weight of a small knife, and nothing could be further from the truth. The Pilar was, I think this year, 2017, was voted the best utility knife or whatever. It was some version of the best knife of the year. So, I mean, now I can understand, going back a few years, that this would have been the Pilar of its day. It was heavier than an awful lot of other knives its size, but it was built to work. And the Pilar, although a small knife, is built to work. I mean, you can cut cardboard. The cutting capacity, it's got a real thin behind the edge here. The cutting capacity, it cuts absolutely fine. As 8CR13, easily sharpened. I think that's the same as the Pilar as well. So they've just updated this model, if you like, with a Pilar. That's all it is. So that took an awful lot of pressure, because when you're reviewing a knife for somebody, all Dale had asked me to do was just review the knife on your channel and then do with it as you want. But for me, yes, I wanted to review it, but there was so many reviews on size, shape. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to put this in my system somewhere where I would get use out of it, because it's nice to pick a knife up and think, that was Dale giving me that. And in 10 years' time, you pick it up and think, that was Dale. I wonder where Dale is now. Do you know what I mean? He's a young fella, by the way. So Dale, I found the place for it now. And the place is, I have a workbox. I don't know whether you've seen some of my videos at night I've done in the front room in the house. And it's just a tool, how would I put it? A tool stool that I built for myself. And I have a couple of tools in the bottom of it. A hammer, a pair of pliers, a couple of screwdrivers. And I used to have a Stanley blade in it, which is not there anymore. I don't know where it went. But I have that, sits in the hall, and if I'm going to do a job around the house, I bring that out, I'll sit on it and stand on it, I'll saw on it. It's just it's a joiner saw bench or stool. So that's what it is, and that's where this is going to go, in the bottom of the pliers and the tools. And I know that mightn't be a glamorous place for it, but do you want to know something? It's going to get used. It's not just going to sit in the pile. This isn't a show knife. This is a wee bulldog that wants to be seen, wants to be out there doing a bit of hard work, getting the head in there and just working ahead. So I hope that's what you were looking for, Dale. I don't know, because I really struggled. Where am I going to put this? I feel in that wee box, this knife is going to get used for years upon years upon years. It's in the house, so if I need to resharpen it, there's no problem. I can even stick one of my wee cheap sharpeners in there, keep it in there for topping it up as I'm going along. I never work that long in the house that it would go blunt, I wouldn't have thought, until I go and sit in my chair and I can resharpen it there. But I do thank you so much, because it's lovely to see knives that I wouldn't have seen growing up. I didn't see anything like this, especially one that's assisted. There would have been no chance you'd have got that taken off you by the police in seconds. And as a teenager, you were stopped more times than you would have wanted to, really, where I was brought up. So, Dale, I can't thank you enough. Is it a delicate killer? No, and I don't know where the nothing fancy fella got that from, because they don't seem, unless it was just a price thing, and that's where I need you to come in and tell me. Or maybe there was a different iteration of this. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I mean, this is just completely, it's the spider hole. It feels much lighter because it's bigger and well spread out than this, although they're near enough the same weight. Better slicer because it's a full flat grind. Great wee work knife. I love the kids got me this last Christmas, so this is a special one to me. And I'd rather be using, although Dale gave me this is a wee work knife for around the house, than taking the coating off this. I know it doesn't make sense. This is fine, cardboard box, everything. The coating stays on well. But I'm going to use this knife that you sent me. I'm not just going to throw it in a pile like a lot of knives. I have wee knives that sit about that I bought, usually late at night when I don't mean to, that I'll never really use. I just buy them because I'm a knife nut. So, Dale, look, I hope it's a bit of an up and down sort of video. I hope you enjoyed it. The other thing that I wanted to show was I have now got another modern day version. The only other steel knife I have, I just got, and sorry again, it's an AliExpress. It's a Sigil custom copy. Look at this. I mean, this is beautiful, beautiful knife. It's all steel, but the difference is with this knife, if you look at this wee one, oh, this isn't assisted, but it flicks well. Look at the difference in size, okay? This is only 1 ounce heavier than this. So that's progression for you. That's the way life works. If you stand still, you get left behind. This big knife, and to be honest with you, this cost me £16 because it's all steel. But you see the workmanship in it. It's nearly faultless. I can find nothing to complain about. It's the most beautiful blade. It's D2, it says, and it cuts certainly like it. So, but there's a review coming on this soon. We've done a review on this. It's already on the channel for anybody who wants to. And what else have we got? No, there we go. There's a comparison. Oh, there's the wee Kershaw knife. And to give a comparison to those, there's a zebra pen closed down, which is the same size as it. And when I extend the pen, it's bigger than the knife itself. Do you know what I mean? And that's me behind it. If I put that in front of it, you'll see the difference. So it is a small, lovely wee knife, probably pocketable if you had work pants on and things like that. If you wanted to carry it, there's no problem. And I just get carried away. I forget to tell you, this here, I didn't like the clip in the back of this because it left so much sticking out of the top of the knife, which is no good in my country because you're not allowed a locking blade. Not that I would break the law or encourage anybody to, but just in case I walked out by accident and had this, it would stick out of the pocket too much for where I live. So your little knife, Dale, the Kershaw deep pocket carry, is now on my Tenacious, because I just noticed as I was sitting comparing the two of them and looking at it, I thought, that looks about the same distance. I'll try that. So I swapped it over and I now have the Kershaw firmly embedded, the wee deep carry there on the back of the Tenacious, which makes this a much better carry for me. So there are. The knife's got 2 uses rather than 1. Look, bye-bye, folks. Look after Larry if he turns up in your door, and don't be frightened. Leprechauns are friendly. I'm away for a cup of tea. Bye.